Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. Melffys are very cute, and they're all twos. That means we can pair them very easily with Spright, making them a powerhouse to contend with. And with the new additions of Penny, Wally, Caddy, etc., as well as most notably, this isn't new, but hey, Melffy of the Forest is also, actually, no, I think it is new. Melffy of the Forest as well, to search out a Melffy card. This gives them massive access to this card, Herald of Arclight, on the opponent's turn, allowing them additional ways to deal with problematic monsters by, locking your opponent from activating things like Droplet, or sending things to the graveyard from hand, for example with Sheeran. All in all, it also locks out other tier plays, for example preventing them from milling cards from the deck to the graveyard. All of these allow you to kind of lock down your opponent and end on an Omni Negate, on top of having additional Spright cards. Paired with things like End of Anubis with Mannequin Cat, as well as Dimension Shifter to just really shut down tier, there is a lot that you can do with this deck to really slow down the opponent, and in a tier 0 meta, having additional access to outs that not only hinder tier but also hinder a lot of other decks is very impactful. So let's quickly do the card by card and the explanation. Starting off with the Spright cards, the pseudo, they're the twos, right? We have a triple Swap Frog and a Ronin Totem, as well as triple Nimble Beaver. Pretty standard there for the twos, as well as for the Sprights, we're playing triple Jet, triple Blue, one Red, one Carrot, the double Starter, and the one Smashers and one Gamma Burst for easy OTKs. As for the Melffy and Melffy adjacent cards, we are playing one Calentosa. This card happens to be a 2 that is also special summonable by, when special summoned by a beast effect, which could be the Mannequin Cat as well as other such cards, it can pop a card on the field. This is also notably not a once per turn, so if you were to play multiple, you could have multiple pops, but notably this is special summonable off of Puppy. Puppy can tag out in order to special summon from deck, and then that can trigger the Calentosa. Very nice. As for the rest of the Melffys, all of them have a unique gimmick, where if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or a monster targets it for an attack, you can return them to the hand to trigger an effect. All of them have different effects. Caddy is able to search, Puppy is able to special summon from deck, and Wally can actually special summon two Melffy monsters with different names from the deck as well. And then Penny does something slightly different, where if it is special summoned from the hand, if a face-up beast monster is returned to the hand, or was returned to the hand this turn, you can special summon this card from the hand and then immediately synchro summon using this monster and a Melffy monster in hand. So this paired with Caddy to search it out means that you can go Caddy, activate its effect, bounce it back to the hand, trigger to search the Penny. Penny can then special summon itself, synchro off with the Caddy in order to go into your Herald of Arclight. So as soon as your opponent summons a monster, you're able to do that, which is very advantageous. Or you could also do it with something like Wally, where you could special summon the Caddy and the Puppy, and then have the ability to search out the Penny, still do that play, while also going for the Calentosa play as well, which is all very nice. This gives us also access to additional twos, which is pretty cool. As for the rest of the cards, we are playing the double Cockroach, double Maxi, double Ash Blossom. We are also playing double Dimension Shifter, double Triple Tactics Talents, which sounds so weird saying double triple, double called by the triple Imperm, as it happens to be the best of the hand traps besides Dimension Shifter right now, and triple Evenly Matched. Going second is very nice to have this card. And then we are also playing one Harpy's Feather Duster and one End of Anubis. If you don't know what this card does, while this card is face up on the field, all effects of spell traps and monster effects that targets card in the graveyard or that activate in the graveyard are negated. So basically, if your opponent does anything with the graveyard, it's basically a better necro value. It stops cards from even going to the graveyard, it stops them from being shuffled, it stops them from being targeted or anything like that. It's just overall very powerful. And in the tier meta, this is very, very strong. Now, notably, this does affect both sides, so you can't go like Elf in order to bring something back, nor can you go like Ronin Totem to bring itself back under your own End of Anubis, so do keep that in mind. As for the extra deck, we are playing one Herald of Arclight. We could also play additionally the Merry Melffy, which has the ability to bounce cards your opponent controls, as well as then go into a Melffy of the Forest. I'm not a big fan of it, but you can definitely play that as well. Instead, I am playing the Sky Cavalry Centuria to go into Zeus lines. We have the one Mannequin Cat. This is normally part of the end board to either go into End of Anubis, or if your opponent has other such cards, you can even go into something like a Melffy Catty or what have you, which is very advantageous. We then have Melffy of the Forest, which has the ability to detach to add a Melffy card, as well as if another face-up Melffy you control returns to the hand, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and it cannot attack, which is very nice, being able to negate something. And it's a permanent negate while this card is face up on the field, so it's very nice there. We have one Onibimaru to help push for lethal. We have two Gigantic and one Zeus. We have ourselves the Link monsters, that being IP Masquerena. We have Codebreaker Virus Swordsman to specifically deal with Baguska. Baguska is a bit of a problem, so if you can make this and then have another level 2 on your side of the field, you can then Exee into, or just another 2, whether that's a Link 2 or a level 2, you can then Exee into your Gigantic after going to the battle to deal with Baguska. Next up, we have a double elf. We have the one Nightmare Unicorn, one Crusadia Avermax, and one Underworld Goddess as our targets for IP Masquerena. Basically, all of these have come up. They're all pretty good, so there's that. Anyway, let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so let's see what we can do going first. We drew Blue Jet, which is pretty good, as well as Called By and Smashers. All in all, a fairly decent start. So we're going to go blue into blue, and we are going to grab up the red because we already have access to the Jet, and then we are going to go for the Gigantic here, just to play around Nibiru even more. We're then going to go for the Swap Frog to dump the Ronin Totem, and then go for Jet to grab up Starter, since we already have Smashers. We're then going to link off into the Sprite Elf, and we're going to activate the Elf in order to grab up Swap Frog. Swap Frog will then dump another Swap Frog, and then we can go for Melffy of the Forest. Melffy of the Forest will then search out the Caddy here. Now, I could have also searched out Wally. The reason we search out Caddy here is because it's a little bit quicker to get into the Herald line, so that's kind of why. And our zones are going to be clogged as we have a lot of monsters on our side of the field, so I kind of wanted to have less monsters, or less like field requirements on our side here. Anyway, we're going to go for the Ronin Totem after making an IP Masquerena, and then go for the Starter to go for Carrot, which will then allow us to go for Mannequin Cat. I do like ending on Mannequin Cat as well. It's just very nice. Being able to go, again, summon something like End of Anubis or what have you. And I noticed that they're on 60 cards, so most likely it's something like Branded or a Tier, in which case we can go Mannequin Cat and lock them out of the graveyard with the End of Anubis. We're going to special summon out the Caddy and proceed from there. We have the Smashers, the Called By, the Caddy, the Masquerena. Just a phenomenal hand. My opponent starts with Keldo Kelbeck, because of course they do. I'm going to activate my Elf here and bring back the blue. We're going to activate the effect of our blue here, and they're going to search out Gravekeeper's Trap because of course they're playing it. They're going to activate their Kelbeck, which is totally fine. I'm going to activate Caddy and blue, and then Called By the Kelbeck. And they activate Super Poly, pitching Scream. Because of course, yeah. So they're just going to fuse away my blue and my Masquerena, which means we don't get a Masquerena, but we still have access to our Caddy, we still have access to the Search, and we still have access to red, as well as Mannequin Cat. Mannequin Cat hasn't triggered yet, so we still have that. And they go for the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So yeah, out comes our Jet. We're going to search out the Caddy. We're going to go for the Penny here. They're going to activate their effect of the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I'm going to trigger my Mannequin Cat, which will then target their Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. And then we can go for the Penny here to special summon itself and synchro into a Herald of Arclight. This will then allow us to summon out to the End of Anubis, and they will activate, they will copy its attack points, or add its attack points. They're going to walk over the Herald, which is totally fine. They're then going to try to walk over End of Anubis. I'm going to go for Smashers here, and I mean, I've already used the Mannequin Cat, so I might as well get rid of it in order to utilize my, my red, as well as keep Elf on the field. For additional target protection. They're going to also go for Branded Fusion, because of course my opponent happened to open Super Poly, Branded Fusion, and Keldo. Because why would they not? They're going to pitch the Gravekeeper's Trap and then try and activate their Despian Tragedy, just to chain block mostly. Out comes the Mirror Jade. Totally fine with me. They're going to activate the effect because of course they are, and I'm going to red that. No activation for you. They basically don't get to do anything here. They're going to go for Alert in the dark, and it was another Kelbeck, which is very funny. yeah, the Albion will be negated at this point. So yeah, at this point, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to lethal, seeing as how we have the Gamma Burst, and my opponent sees the Jet come down and they just scoop it up. Alright, so what does our deck look like when going second? Notably, we do play quite a few going second cards, most notably that of Evenly Matched, Hand Traps, as well as Triple Tactics. I'm going to immediately in the draw phase fire the Maxi, just to kind of get it out of the way, and immediately my opponent will reveal that they are on Flunder! Okay, cool, fantastic. Realistically, I do make a mistake here. I grab up the Eaglin. I should probably grab up the Robina here, because the map is less likely to be seen, so normally you would grab the Eaglin to stop their map plays from being as powerful. However, I do think grabbing Robina is the play now, since map is limited to 1. They're going to go for Robina, grab up Eaglin. Eaglin is then going to be normal summoned in order to grab up the M-Pen, and then they contribute those for the M-Pen. M-Pen activate the effect to grab up their Robina and their Eaglin as well. And they are going to search from their deck to their hand the Dreaming Town. They're going to normal summon the Eaglin just to get it on field, I guess. I don't really know. And then pass the turn. Okay, cool. Well, we're just going to immediately try to go to the battle phase, to the which they will respond with the Dreaming Town. This is exactly what I wanted, since this does specifically require my opponent to activate something during the main phase. So, at the very least, we are able to force out the Apex Avian, which they're going for. Out comes the Apex Avian, they're going to tribute over, go for the Apex Avian, activate the effect of the Robina, grab up the Robina back to hand, and at this point I will try and steal a monster, to the which they will negate. Obviously, that's cool. I'm still going to go to the battle phase, activate my Evenly Matched, and deal with their board. We didn't get to see what they banished, but notably, they did end up banishing the Eaglin face up. That's a really interesting mechanic. Yeah, cool. Now we just have to deal with the M-Pen. Now, luckily we drew into Maxi, so we can normal summon that, special summon the Carrot, and then go for our Gigantic here. Gigantic can then search out the Blue, Blue can then special summon the Jet, and then Jet effect grab up Smashers. I then decide to go for Smashers here. Realistically, I think it would have been better to go for something like a Starter, because then Starter could have given us the Onibimaru, it could have given us Melffy of the Forest, or something along those lines, and then still go into the Sprite Elf, or what have you. But alas, I decided to go for this and banish my Gigantic in order to get the M-Pen out of the way. We then go for the Melffy of the Forest in order to grab a Puppy, and then Puppy can special summon itself. So we have Penny, Puppy, and the Melffy of the Forest. Now, notably, Puppy is able to go into Kalantosa. Kalantosa can then pop a card, and then we have that Penny to go into that Synchro monster. And with Flunder being so low attack stats in their base monsters, and not in their tributes, this should be enough. They're going to start with the Imperm to negate my XZ. Sure, I don't think that's the right play. Definitely should have hit the Penny, the Puppy, but alas, we're not the best here. They're going to grab back their Eaglin, and then they're going to grab up their Stree. They're going to activate the effect of the Stree in order to banish the Blue. That's fine. I'm going to then pop the Stree. I feel like Stree being banished is fine, and then we're going to special summon out our Penny, and immediately Synchro into Herald. They're then going to normal summon the Eaglin, activate the effect of the Stree. Do not activate the effect of Eaglin, because I believe that they are out of targets. Which to which point they would concede. To be fair, I think at that point it doesn't really matter if they go for a Ryza there. We can just negate the Ryza. Or actually, no, we would have. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot that we can do there. But at the very least, it's something, right? We have a negate if it comes up. But yeah, they could just chain block and it becomes very problematic. But alas, there we are. Alright, and here we are once again going first. So, we drew a pretty interesting hand. We drew the Starter and a Nimble Beaver, as well as called by for this Cockroach. Cool. Okay, so the game will actually be played. Love this minigame. I love that if you win the minigame, you win the game. Anyway, we're going to go into Gigantic Sprite here and activate the effect of the Gigantic Sprite to grab up a Swap Frog. Swap Frog jump the Ronin Totem, and then go into Elf. Elf will then bring back the Swap Frog in order to jump another Swap Frog for an additional Ronin Totem, which we will then activate the Ronin Totem in order to... Oh, sorry. We're going to start off with the Starter. The Starter will then grab the Blue. Blue will grab Jet, and then Jet will special summon itself to grab up another Starter. You're wondering why I'm not grabbing Smashers, because Starter is going to give us access to either Red or Carrot, which seems a little bit better here. We're then going to XZ into Mannequin Cat, and then activate the effect of the Ronin Totem in order to grab up the second monster, that being IP Masquerade. Since we already have the Catty, there's no real point in going for Melffy of the Forest, so we can just end on a standard board at this point, which is Mannequin Cat, IP Masquerade, Elf, and Catty. Then we also get to set a Starter as well for additional disruption. I'm not going to activate the Starter because that would lock us out of the IP Masquerade, so there's that. Immediately, they're going to normal summon Stella after activating Dimensional Fissure, which is totally fine. We're going to grab up the Penny here and go for the Herald of Arclight. And then, because I know that my opponent is going to activate a card, I'm going to go for the Jet here. I'm going to activate the effect of Jet. They're going to activate the Stella, to the which I will promptly negate and destroy it. This means that their normal summon is now dead, which is great. Then they activate Martha immediately after. Realistically, I should have immediately gone for the Spright starter, because Martha does punish me here. So had I gone for the Spright starter in order to grab up the the red, I would have been able to negate that and prevent them from actually being able to play the game. But this does trigger my Mannequin Cat, so now I can special summon out Dimension Shifter, which is very funny. And then I'm going to link off the board in order to go into Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. We're going to activate the effects to negate the Ellis, and then I will chain two, when I can, I'm going to activate my effect of the starter in order to grab up the red, because the one card that punishes me is Ellis in hand, which, hey, they did happen to have it, and I'm going to promptly negate that by banishing the Mannequin Cat and negating and destroying it, banishing it as well. They then proceed to the end phase, and again, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to lethal, given the fact that we have access to the Ronin Totem here to go for the Gigantic, as well as Kalantosa as well. Also, this is permanently negated thanks to Closed World, or Underworld Goddess, so yeah. We're going to go for Gigantic in order to grab up Jet. Jet will then grab up the Gamma Burst, and then we'll link off into Spright Elf. Spright Elf will bring back the blue. Blue will then search out the carrot, and then we will just proceed to battle from there with the Gamma Burst, which is well over lethal. Cool, we're going to punch for a whole bunch of damage. Yeah, good game, good game. Real quick, I just wanted to show you, I went 10 and 3 in 13 games. So yeah, we had 3 losses, 10 wins. Here's the win rate. You can quickly see it. This wasn't plat though, so, you know, pretty simple. I just kind of wanted to show you what we did. Alright, we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, this deck does extremely well. Having access to additional going second cards, specifically evenly matched in a meta that has so few negates, specifically spell trap negates, is very nice. On top of that, it just kind of deals with basically every board. There isn't like a single board that just doesn't die to this, for the most part. Yeah. Also, the Melffy stuff is absolutely fantastic in this. I wanted to play more of a dedicated Melffy package, and as you can see, we are playing a lot. Most decks, I would say, are probably just playing Caddy and Penny, because they are just the single cards that are necessary. Caddy just immediately gets into the Penny, which then gets you into the Herald of Arclight, and that's basically all that you need. Also, with just a single Xyz going into the Melffy of the Forest in order to do that during the end phase. However, I think Puppy is very nice. I also think Wally is very nice as well, giving you access to additional cards, like going into both Caddy and Puppy in order to go into Kalantosa and Penny is very nice, right? As well as giving you additional 2s and stuff like that. It's nicer if you have the ability to kind of be a little bit slower with your plays, if you can kind of wait a little bit, which, you know, it comes up occasionally. But yeah, I just really like the new Melffy stuff. I think that it's some really good support, and Sprite's really cool, and I really still enjoy it. Being able to play as well a whole bunch of tech cards. As you can see, most of the deck is tech cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 tech cards. So yeah, out of 42, it seems pretty good. And then even on top of that, the Melffy stuff is technically not, you know, standard for lists, so you could even consider that to be tech. But yeah, lots of cards to specifically beat the meta, and not just tier, but lots of other things as well. As you saw, we played against Flunder, we played against Exo Sister, and we still have the ability to play very well against those as well, which is why I think that this deck is really good for climbing. If you want to climb, I would highly suggest playing Spright. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, I like it very much, appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.